So, when did you decide that you wanted to be a doctor?
Well, early on, I was pretty young, and as a kid, you like to act out, play doctor or fireman or the garbage man. So I always liked to play doctor. And I didn't know at that time that I wanted to be a doctor, but as I was going through my education and schooling, I realized that I liked science and I was good at it. And I also have doctors in the family, so I was surrounded by doctors, and I decided why not just give it a shot.
Well, you were very qualified. So I think that's a wonderful answer. Do you have any? I'm interested in a lot of different things. So let me just see what you think about these things. And what's your thought about the Schiavo case?
It's a very, very touchy subject. I believe that I think after the doctors have told the family that she is in a vegetative state and that there's really no hope for her and that she is brain dead and that she really isn't alive, even though she appears to be alive, that the government or the family should have let go. They should have let her be in peace and not just assume that she is there, she's alive, and that they can keep her alive. I believe that they should have done it sooner, even though there's a lot of controversy that she might have not been brain dead, but I really believe that it should have, it should have been done. There's nothing that they could have done for her. There's so many more cases like hers, and it's not in the news, and really there's nothing we can do.
Mm-hmm. Is it legal to prescribe marijuana?
I don't think it is, but it might be.
Like, can somebody get marijuana for like cough or bad memory, or how do they? No.
No.
So it's not legal. Now, why did the brain have receptors, cannabinoid receptors? Like, why does the brain have THC receptors?
To control certain functions.
That's good. That's good. So, so it's your understanding that a doctor can't prescribe marijuana. That's the drug.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
I wish the doctor couldn't prescribe marijuana. I'm not quite certain about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
If they did?
Yeah.
How would they prescribe it?
They have the license to do it, so if it is legal, if it actually can be prescribed, there probably are limitations to whether or not the patient qualifies for it, if it is a drug or a treatment for a certain disease, so they would probably...
Marijuana.
Right.
That's interesting. So what would the prescription look like? Like, a doctor writes a prescription for marijuana. Do they write...
Marijuana on it?
They write, inhale deeply and hold your breath.
Is that what you do?
6 times an hour. I mean, that's...
Could it possibly come in a pill form?
Very good. There are pills called Marinol. So that's again a very good answer, because it's a question of physicians can prescribe medicines that are approved for use in certain situations for certain diseases. That's controlled. Do you have any idea what the rules are about physicians and physician behaviors in the state of Florida as it relates to illegal drugs?
I can imagine that there's a strict rule about not using them or prescribing anything to their own patients for uses other than medical.
Mm-hmm. So does that, in the state of Florida, does that mean that if you saw a doctor smoking crack, that you could call a number and someone would go and help that doctor and get them out of their practice?
Well, I think if there was a doctor who smoked crack and there was evidence of it, I would hope that that doctor wouldn't practice anymore, and that there is such law that won't really, I mean, maybe that will help him.
Mm-hmm.
He needs help, but I don't think he should be allowed to go back to practice medicine. I don't know. I feel it's a touchy subject. I don't use drugs, and I'm very against it. And I think, I mean.
So let me ask you this. So the natural question would be, our football team has drug testing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a drug-free football team. But our medical school has no drug testing. Do you think we have a drug-free medical school class?
No, not at all. And I think I'm surprised I didn't know that there isn't drug testing. I believe that there should be, because unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the medical students did drugs.
And do you think they could still do their work?
Depending on what drug it is, I believe there's drugs out there that makes the students believe that they will do better work or they will be more concentrated on their work. But that's for the short term. But for the
Ritalin and psychostimulants.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
But for the long term, I believe that they do not realize that it is damaging and that it's not good to do it.
Let me ask you a couple more things. What do you like about the University of Florida?
I like the Gators.
That's good.
I think it's a very competitive school. I like that. I like the fact that when you come to the University of Florida, specifically, I mean, not just the medical school, but the undergrad, that you have so much to choose from, that they have strong programs in engineering, in pre-medicine, in journalism. You can pick pretty much, they have a wide variety of majors, and I like that.
Where did you come from, by the way?
Where did I come from?
You came here from where?
High
school.
What, high school? I came here from Samuel W. Wolfson High School in Jacksonville, Florida. That's where I went to high school.
Good.
So
that's is it like a city, in a big city?
It is a big city.
So do you learn to be comfortable with all kinds of different people?
Yes, actually I do. I'm not from the United States, so I've traveled. No.
Where are you from?
I'm from Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Really?
Yes.
And so what does that mean in terms of the learning of English? When did you learn English?
I learned English when I moved here, which was at the age of 14. So my mom is an English professor, or was an English professor in Yugoslavia. So it was helpful because when we first moved here, she had to translate the English text, so my sister and I. So it was a challenge.
That's incredible.
Okay, well, thank you.
I mean, it's incredible. It's a very, very good story. Let me ask you this. Have you ever read a medical journal?
I started reading articles in medical journals through the class that I'm a teacher's assistant for, MEL 5011, the Introduction to Medicine or Medical Professions, and part of our my duty is to find articles for the course so we can post and make quiz questions for the students. I didn't read medical journals up until, I guess, this semester.
I like both of those answers. The first part of the answer that's great is you do read medical articles, but rather than just saying, I read them, you told me why, and you told me when you started, without me having to ask.
Well,
so
thank you.
The best program is an honest program, and you could have answered that question and still been, quote, honest easily without telling me any of those things, but I found that very helpful. you're like now a resident of the state of Florida?
Yes, I'm a legal resident of
You
the state
are.
of Florida, yes.
Can you vote?
No, you have
Yes.
to be a citizen.
You do.
Yes.
Would you happen to know who the governor is?
The governor of Florida, Jeb Bush.
Mm-hmm. Would you happen to know any of the U.S. senators?
Not, unfortunately, not by name, but
pick
on the news because of the Terry Schiavo case. Whenever I do watch news, which isn't every night, but I would probably be able to recognize faces, not names.
Mm-hmm. And do you understand the U.S. government? Like you know who the president is.
Right.
You know who the vice president is?
Cheney.
Mm-hmm. We've had other applicants come in who've been in America their whole life and couldn't name. It's not that they wouldn't name, but they just couldn't name
it.
How about any of the Supreme Court? Do you know that some justice on the Supreme Court has a very, very serious medical problem? And people have asked me about that problem and whether they would survive because he might need to be replaced. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I hate
Do you know any of the justices at all?
Their names?
Or like, do you know what the Supreme Court does?
I do.
But
I do know what the Supreme Court. It's quite different than the system in Europe.
Exactly.
So I didn't have to learn it, but I probably don't know it to the extent that an American would know it.
What other languages do you speak?
I speak German and Serbo-Croatian and English.
Okay, that's fantastic. Did you play an instrument?
No, I didn't, but I dance, or used to dance. My sister and I, my mom enrolled us in ballet, and then we started doing some other dancing, and unfortunately I
Do you have
stopped.
any favorite dancers in the United States?
In the United States?
Like in Miami Dance Company or New York?
It's not.
Jameson or
It's
Loyola?
not such a passion to where I have a favorite dancer that I look up to. It was just a hobby.
I have only one more question.
Okay.
President Bush was vaccinated against smallpox.
Mhm.
And I'd like to know why you think he was vaccinated against smallpox, and also how would you decide if you should be vaccinated or if a patient of yours should be vaccinated against smallpox?
Okay. Well, actually, here in the United States, it's not a law that you have to get vaccinated for smallpox. And I'm assuming the reason why the president got vaccinated is because he's the president, so they want to make sure that he gets everything as a president. I believe that it would be good if everybody, if it became in Europe or in my mother country, everybody up until a certain age got vaccinated for smallpox. So,
what's the big threat to the president from smallpox? How could he get smallpox?
I don't know. I really don't. I honestly don't.
That's a
No,
good answer,
I believe that nowadays he probably is most likely not to get it. But a long time ago, it
How
was
about
possible.
terrorists?
Terrorists, how could they?
What were your impressions of Emma?
Well, I mean, what could you say other than she's completely straightforward, honest, ethical, and hardworking. Her personal history of survival and adjusting to the United States is remarkable. Her problems on the MCAT could easily be discounted because English was her third language. And she's doing pretty well to be able to take an MCAT in a third language and take a competitive course load in a third language. She has good understanding of the practice of medicine, dedication to others, a clear vision of her future, and I just couldn't find anything other than high marks for her interview.